So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, as usual, we'll be discussing Indian Express newspaper, and then we'll try to solve some MCQ which was there given to you for the practice last time. We will try to explain that, and in the end there will be another MCQ for you to solve. Then we will be talking about a fact of the day. Then there is this another section, that is know our constitution. In that we will be starting with the Supreme Court. Today we will be discussing certain articles with respect to the Supreme Court. There is nothing much, you know that what is the appointment procedure, etc. So we will just go through the articles. Okay. Then moving further, important articles of the day if we talk about, so there is this expanding PM Ayushman Bharat. You know that this is our government's, you can say central government's insurance health insurance scheme. So that is, here you can see this article is given, cabinet clears health insurance coverage of 5 lakh for all aged 70 years and above. So this article we will try to explore. Okay, other than that, there was this another article which is here in the today's front page. Here you can see top members of Dhaka interim government says Adani power deal scrutiny. Okay, so there is this power deal which is there, so they are trying to scrutinize it. We will see why this is happening. Okay, then second article here is education in Madrasa. So recently there is this okay, hold on a second. So recently, you know that there is this body which has actually came up with the report wherein they have mentioned that education in madrasas is not up to mark. So we will try to address that issue as well. And then mission Mausam. Okay, this mission Mausam is related to, you can say, weather forecasting, etc. So we will try to understand that. We will see that why such you can say missions are important for us with respect to weather, or otherwise also when we talk about the early warning systems, then also their role is quite prominent. Okay, now moving further, we will be seeing the practice question. What is a common consequence of antibiotic resistance observed in the hospitals? Yesterday we have talked about the AMRs, antimicrobial resistance. Now when we are talking about microbes, there are various types. One is antibiotics, or you can say bacteria are there are various pathogens, etc., and against them we are using certain kind of medicines. Okay, overuse of such medicines can cause problems. We have seen all this yesterday. So the consequence of antibiotic resistance observed in the hospital, options were given: increased rate of successful treatment. So obviously if we are talking about the antibiotic resistance, and we know that this is a negative term, so this is a positive connotation over here, so this is, you can say, neglected. Shorter hospital stays, that again it's a you can say positive connotation. Moving further, longer hospital stays and the higher treatment cost, that can be one option. Then last is decreased use of antibiotics. Here we are saying that the antibiotic resistance has actually happened because of the increased use of antibiotics. So that is also not there. Option C would be a right answer, that is longer hospital stays and the higher treatment cost, because considering these antibiotic resistance in the hospitals, there are certain pathogens, or you can say there are hospital induced diseases. Okay, and because of which there can be infection, and if there is an infection you have to stay longer in the hospital. Option C would be your right answer, and if you are staying longer in the hospital, that means higher treatment cost. Okay, now let's move further and see. Before moving further, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that on the occasion of Hindi Divas, Drishti IAS has brought you this special sale wherein we are providing you flat 40% discount on all online pen drive courses, test series and distance learning programs. Other than that also, when we are talking about the students who are preparing for PCS examinations, so UPPCS, RAS and you can say MPPCS, we are providing you flat 40% discount. You can avail the offer by clicking in the link which is given in the description, and other than that you can call on these numbers which are given: 8010440440 or 87501 saying that, I would like to tell you that when this special offer is valid from 13th to 14th of September, so please take a note of that, and you can avail these offers by clicking in the link which is given in the description. Okay, now moving further and talking about the fact of the day. Kuno National Park is situated in the state of Madhya Pradesh in India, near border with Rajasthan. The park was established in 1981 as wildlife sanctuary, and later it was designated as a national park in 1999. Now, why this particular fact is important for you? Because Kuno has been in news for various reasons. Okay, recently we have seen that there was this tiger, Pawan. The name of the tiger, there was this cheetah. Okay, my mistake. There was this cheetah, name is Pawan. Okay, and he was found dead, and he was not inside the Kuno premises, he was outside the Kuno premises. So there was certain, you can say, questions which were raised over here. Other than that also, you know that we have a cheetah reintroduction project. Cheetah reintroduction. So what is happening over here is that we are getting cheetahs from the African continent and introducing them into Kuno National Park, okay, and that is why Kuno was quite in news, because 20 African cheetahs were introduced in India, okay, few of them has died, and but right now if we talk about their number after, you know, mating etc., so there is this number which is 25, so there is an increase of, you know, 5 cubs has been there. So that is something because of which Kuno National Park has been in news. So please take a note of that and know that it was established as wildlife sanctuary in 1981, and then it was later designated as national park in 1999, okay. Other than that, when we are talking about this particular issue, you know that there is this another wildlife sanctuary, that is Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary, okay. Now government is considering this Gandhi Sagar as the second home for cheetahs, because first is Kuno, and they are considering it as second home for cheetahs, okay. So maybe in future we will be seeing that they might reintroduce cheetah in this particular region as well, okay. Now moving further, we will be talking about our constitution. Part 5, we were discussing the union government. We have discussed the, you can say, president, we have discussed vice president, we have discussed parliament, we have seen Lok Sabha, we have seen Rajya Sabha, we have seen specific powers of, you can say, president, we have seen what is the job of parliament, what is the, you can say, ordinance making power, etc., etc. Considering that, when we talk about union government, there is one more you can say element which is there, that is not exactly the part of government, but it is working at the union level, that is your Supreme Court. When we talk about courts in India, or you can say judiciary in India, India has an independent and integrated judiciary. Independent means that they are out of the clutches of the executive as well as the legislature, so they will be having a separate you can say functioning of their own. So that is one thing. Second thing is that that we have an integrated judiciary, that we have for you can say union as well as the units of the union when we talk about the states, etc. So every state we have high courts. Below these high courts we have subordinate courts. Now working of these subordinate courts, or you can say high court, is the one who is observing or the monitoring subordinate courts. And when we talk about you can say central level, we have Supreme Court, okay. Now Supreme Court has various you can say when we are talking about the jurisdictions, so Supreme Court has original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, other than writ jurisdiction is also there. So when we are talking about the original jurisdiction, we are saying that Supreme Court is the one who is basically taking care of the issues between the state and state, or state and center, few states on one side, few state and center on one side. All these are the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, okay. Another thing is writ jurisdiction. We have talked about the Article 32. For the violation of fundamental rights, you can directly approach the Supreme Court, okay. So that is the writ jurisdiction. Now considering all these important factors, that Supreme Court and judiciary is how in India, how it is important, okay. So coming to the articles with respect to the Supreme Court, okay. Now Article 124 is talking about the establishment of the Supreme Court, that is there should be a Supreme Court with a CGI until there is a law of parliament which increase the number of the judges over there, okay. So with the law of the parliament, the number of the judges has been increased. Right now if we talk about in India, there are 34 judges, okay. So we can say that one is CGI and 33 other judges are there in the Supreme Court, okay. So that is one thing. Moving further, salary of the judges, okay, that is given in the Article 125. That is for our examinations point of view. Just know that Article 125 is talking about the salaries. Moving further, 126 is talking about the appointment of the acting chief justice, appointment of the ad hoc judges, okay. So now 126 and 127 is talking about that the appointment of the acting chief justice, that will be done by the president, okay. Appointment of the ad hoc judges, that will be done by the CGI. Okay, so please remember that. Now why? Because chief justice, if someone is acting as a chief justice, that is basically, you can say, that is something having a power of the chief justice of the Supreme Court, that is something big, okay. In that case, we know that chief justice of India is appointed by the president. In that case, we can say that president will be the authority to decide on the acting chief justice. Now ad hoc judges, To complete the quorum of the Supreme Court, CGI can appoint the ad hoc judges. Okay, so that is there. Anyways, when we talk about the Supreme Court judges and appointments of the CGI and other judges, so you know that we have a very prominent system that is called as collegium. Okay, appointment will be done by the president, that is one thing, okay, but the names will be suggested by the collegium to the law ministry will send it to the council of minister and prime minister will be giving it to the president, and president will go for the appointment. Okay, when we talk about the appointment of judges, there is this one phrase which is famous, that is judges are appointing judges. That is basically your collegium system. Collegium system has been introduced in India through the second judge case. Okay, and it was actually you can say the present form of you can say collegium system came into picture after the third judge case. Okay, so you can remember all these things. Now coming to the next part, that is attendance of the retired judges at the sitting of the Supreme Court. If you want that if a retired judge should be serving in the Supreme Court, that also is power which is given to the CGI. Okay, CGI can do that. Now 129, Supreme Court to be court of record. Okay, so that is something you know that. Article 130, that is the seat of the Supreme Court, that will be decided you can say, that is Article 130. Right now in India, Supreme Court sits at only one place, that is Supreme Court premises in Delhi. Okay, other than that they can decide if they want to have another you can say bench of Supreme Court. Okay, then Article 136, special leave provision, or you can say appeal. When we talk about the, you can say there are certain areas which are not under specifically under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Okay, or let's say there is no appellate power which is directly given to the Supreme Court, but in such cases you can take a special leave from the Supreme Court to, you can say that they can consider the case. Okay, so that is Article 136. When we talk about the tribunals etc., you know that there was this Kaveri river water issues etc., there was this tribunal and it was said that the award of that tribunal will be final. Okay, but after that also there are certain special leaves which has been put forward in the Supreme Court, and then Supreme Court has heard the matter. Okay, Article 137, that is review of judgment or orders by the Supreme Court. You know that Supreme Court can review its own judgment. There is this provision that let's say there is this judgment which has been given by a 5-judge bench. Okay, so if you want to review it, then there should be a larger bench, and a larger bench can review this particular judgment. Okay, so that is there. Second is last one is Article 144, decision of the Supreme Court of India binding on the all courts. Okay, so that is Article 141. Okay, other than that, Supreme Court has the advisory powers. When we talk about so there are presidential references which are made to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has the you can say they have to give the opinion. When we talk about, there are two kind of opinions. One is the post independence, one is pre-independence. When we talk about the pre-independence era, if some opinion is asked by the president, in that case Supreme Court has to give the opinion. Post independence, if we talk about in that case Supreme Court need not, or this is not binding for Supreme Court to give the opinion on that. Okay, so these are certain you can say articles which are important from the Supreme Court's point of view. Now we can move further to the next one, that is the today's newspaper discussion. Here, expansion of the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, cabinet clears health insurance coverage of 5 lakh for all who are aged 70 years and above. No income limit will be rolled out soon. 5 lakh shared top up for the 30 plus age group already registered. Now here what we are trying to see is 4-5 important things are there for us to discuss. We will be seeing that. I will tell you briefly. We have a health insurance scheme that is run by a central government, that is basically, you can say, below 40% of the people who are there when we are talking about the economic criteria etc. So below 40% population will be considered for this particular scheme. Okay, so that is one thing which is already running. Okay, this is something new which they have done for the age of 70 plus. We will come to that later. Now in this particular scheme, what is there, that is you will be having insurance coverage up to 5 lakh rupees per year. Now that is for a family. Okay, now there are something around, you can say nearly 40 crores people has been benefited out of this particular scheme. Other than that, when we are talking about this 5 lakh per year per family or per household, they have not defined any number or the cap on the number of people in the family. Okay, so that is the Ayushman Bharat Yojana which we already have, and that is for the you can say tertiary care. Okay, now coming to this one, in this case, you know that if there are 5 people in a family and you have a 5 lakh coverage, okay, and let's say there are 2 elderly people, okay, who are dependent and they need more attention, they need more you can say health facilities, etc. So there are 2 people and this is 5 lakh for 5 people, 1 lakh for each. Okay, we can just doing the math approximately. Now that might not be sufficient for these 2 people because considering their age, considering their requirements, that not be sufficient. Okay, considering that, government has come up with another you can say scheme which wherein they are saying that this is for the senior citizens only, that is 70 and plus years. Okay, now they will be providing you that for in a particular family, they will be giving you you can say 5 lakh extra for those who are having 70 plus persons. So here you can say in this particular family what will happen is that we had 5 members, 3 of them were you can say adults, 2 of them were basically your senior citizens. So for them we will have this 5 lakh rupees which is already there, and now there is this extra 5 lakh rupees which is there. Now these 2 people can avail these 5 lakh as well. Okay, so that is kind of a top up, or you already have this much and now this is a top up of 5 lakh rupees for you extra. Okay, so that is there. Now what if there is only one person, then also he will get 5 lakh. If in a family 5 members are there and 5 of them are senior citizens, then only they will get 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so that is then, but you can say that that is a good start, because when we say in a family there will be 5 elderly people, that is highly unlikely because now we are going for more and more nuclear families. Okay, anyways, coming to this, no income limit. Now this will be without any kind of income limit, without any kind of, when we are talking about the Ayushman Bharat, we have said that there will be the below 40% people in the you can say when we are talking about the poverty lines, etc. In that case, the below 40% strata of the country will be the part of this particular Ayushman Bharat. But in this case, Ayushman Bharat for the senior citizens, okay, there is no income limit. Okay, so that is one thing, and it will be rolled out soon. 5 lakh rupees shared. This is a top up, as I told you how this top up will work. Okay, and this is done. Now here you can see there will be facilities, government facilities, there are 17,062 and private facilities, that is 13,410. Now 5 lakh rupees per family annual coverage for all person aged 70 years and above regardless of the economic status. Okay, for all families who are having a person having 70 years plus age, he will be getting that particular family will be getting a top up of 5 lakh rupees. Additional shared annual top up of 5 lakh rupees for 70 plus years members of families who are already covered under any kind of scheme. Okay, as I told you, if there is a family which is already registered under the Ayushman Bharat, okay, and then there is 70% plus, then they will be given a top up of 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so overall you will be seeing that that family will have a coverage of 10 lakh, 5 lakh exclusively for the 70 plus people and another 5 lakh for all of them. Okay, now those eligible for the government schemes like CGSH can retain the same cover or switch to Ayushman Bharat. Now this is an option which has been given. If you are you can say beneficiary of another government scheme just which are there for the central government you can say employees, etc. So either you can choose the Ayushman Bharat or you can continue with that only. Okay, now scheme to benefit 4.5 crore families with 6 crore membership in 70 plus age. Okay, so that is something which we have discussed. We have seen these all parameters we have already discussed. It is yet to be rolled out because there are certain intricacies which they have discussed, they will discuss, and then they will come up with this. Currently the scheme is income based and provide 5 lakh shared annual coverage to the all members of the eligible families. This is about the Ayushman Bharat original. Okay, the current scheme which is there, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Okay, so that is Pradhan Mantri, or otherwise you can say Ayushman Bharat. So that is a shared scheme. Here you can say this is income based, provides 5 lakh shared annual coverage to the all members of the eligible family. Okay, now bottom 40% of the population economically irrespective of their age. So we have discussed about the you can say Ayushman Bharat. These are the features of your Ayushman Bharat. Okay, now here you can say the cabinet has actually approved the 5 lakh for the 70 plus people. We have discussed that only. We have seen that 4.5 crore families will be there, and all these factors we have already covered. Okay, now when we are talking about this particular paragraph over here, Okay, so you can go through this particular thing because there is nothing much which is there, because we have already seen if you are registered under any other you can say health insurance scheme, that is CGSH or ECHS or CAPF or all these things. So either you can choose them or the Ayushman Bharat that is there. Okay. Now, if you are talking about the who are under the private health insurance policies or employees state insurance scheme will be eligible to avail the benefits under the Ayushman Bharat PMJAY. Now, if you are you can say if you have taken an insurance from a private player, or if you have been under the insurance of the you can say employees state insurance, in that case you can take advantage of the Ayushman Bharat as well. So you can get an extra 5 lakh rupees coverage over there. Okay. Now, if we talk about the outlay of this particular scheme, that is 3,437 crores. Okay, this is a demand based scheme. As the demand increases, they will go for the increase in that particular thing. When we are talking about why we are doing all these things right now, because the you can say percentage of these people, when we talk about the dependent people or the 70 plus people, that is increasing in India, and considering that we are going for such things. Okay. PMJAY, which is a world's largest publicly funded health assurance scheme, covered 7.37 crore hospitals and admissions, 7.37 crore hospital admissions, and 49% of the beneficiaries are women over here. So here you can see this is something, a fact which you can use in the mains answer writing as well. These are the beneficiaries, and these are the you can say 49% of the beneficiary in this particular scheme are basically women. So that can be used in the various you can say questions related to the woman empowerment, or you can say something if there is on the problems of the society, etc. If they ask you something related to women, then you can mention this particular thing. Okay, those in the 70 plus age group accounted for the 12% of the total hospital admissions. 12% of the admissions in the Ayushman Bharat were from the 70 plus people, and 40% of the cost, that was 14% of the cost was basically or you can say they were the beneficiary of that particular cost. Okay. Now, while the most state will be there for the 40%, when we are talking about the normal state, there will be 60-40 ratio. 60% will be paid by the center, and 40% will be paid by the state. When we are talking about the Himalayan states and northeastern states, so 90% will be given by the center and 10% will be given by the states. Okay. India's population over the age of 60 years is estimated to increase from 8.6 in 2011 to 19.5 in 2050. So considering that, we are going for such coverage facilities, etc. Okay. Now we can move further to the next article, which is talking about the issues in J&K. When we are talking about the issues of J&K right now, one thing is prominent over there, that is electricity. When we are considering the state assembly elections which are going to happen over there, okay, and you know that because of these state assembly elections, there are various campaigning, etc., which is going on, and yesterday election commission has said that we will not be going for the cancelling of the rallies, we will not go for the merging of the booths, etc. All these things which has been done in the previous years, that will not be done. Other than that, they have said that they will not go for the preventive detentions, etc. Okay, so these are all positive things which are happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, when we are talking about this particular election, electricity is one of the issue. Okay, when we are talking about the Lok Sabha elections as well, so at that point of time also BJP and the other parties has actually taken up this particular issue. When we talk about the areas of Jammu and Kashmir, that because of the snowfall, etc., in the winters most of the time there will be no electricity. Now that has been a cause of concern for them, and they have been the political parties are making that an issue, and they are making certain promises as well. Okay, so that is something. Here you can see one of the proud proclamation of the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha used to be that the after abrogation of Article 370 by the centre, peoples of Jammu and Kashmir are seeing barf and bijli together. Okay, that means that even if there is snowfall, the electricity is there. Okay, so that has been said by the Manoj Sinha, the Lieutenant Governor of the Union Territory, together for the first time, referring to the long power cuts in the winter that have been a long-term norm in the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so most of the time in the times of winters, if there is this snowfall, then electricity will not be there. That was the norm which was there earlier. Now, along with the issues of the identity, political representation, etc., electricity is one of the big issue over here. Now, when we talk about the total installed capacity, so the 12 here you can say 1200 units will be from the you can say union territories sector, and then other is under the control of the center, that is 2300. Okay, so that is why, since this electricity is being built over there, that is being generated over here, still they have a little bit control over that. Now what is the crisis over here? Okay, now see, since a majority of the electricity is generated in Jammu and Kashmir from the hydropower sources, and hydropower sources will require precipitation and water. Here you can see the capacity depends entirely on the river flow governed by the precipitation of the snow. Okay, so basically they are saying that when precipitation is there, water is there, then only this particular hydropower will be generated. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir does not produce thermal power, or solar power is only 20 megawatts. The target of solar power here is basically 100 megawatts, but yet still till now that is only 20 megawatts. Okay, so most of the electricity generated here is from the hydropower sources and not from the coal, or you can say solar power. Okay, now here you will be seeing that with the administration setting target of 100 megawatt, which we have seen that losses through the distribution of this particular energy which they are generating, that is 65%. Okay, now that is also a cause of concern, that just the distribution losses are 65%. Revenue from the metered connections only account for about 35% of J&K's power supply, with rest reliant on the additional budgetary support. Okay, now when we are talking about the revenue support, or from the connections or the metered connections which are there, from which whatever revenue is coming, okay, that is only 35% of the cost. Rest is being taken by the budgetary sources. So that is one of the concern over here. Here you will be seeing nearly half of the consumers in Jammu and Kashmir do not have the metered connection. Now since half of the consumers do not have the metered connection, that means that this leakage which is there, that is 65%, that is going over there. Okay, they are using the electricity, but since there are no metered connection, that is why we cannot generate a revenue out of it. Okay, now out of the installed capacity, we have seen that 3500 megawatts, only 1200 megawatts is with the administration of union territory itself, and 2300 megawatt is administrated by the NHPC, that is National Hydroelectric Power Corporation, which is going for the national pool. Okay, so that is there. The biggest power project in Jammu and Kashmir is the Baglihar plant, which is there, which is generating having a generation capacity of 900 megawatts. Okay, and the remaining 300 megawatts is coming from the other projects. We have seen that 1200 is with the Jammu and Kashmir. From this one project they are generating 900 megawatts, 300 is coming from others. Okay, when we are talking about the months of June and July, the height of the summer, the generation capacity peaks. This is normal because in the summer times we know that. When we talk about the area of Jammu and Kashmir, okay, so when we see Jammu and then we have Kashmir. So in Jammu, what is happening is that in the summer you will be seeing that the electricity requirement is high. Okay, and in the winters it is low. But when we are talking about Kashmir, it is the other way around. Okay, in the winters the requirement of the peak is high, because this is the area where you can see the snow, etc., and that is why there is a lot of coldness, or the winter is very harsh over there, because of which they require electricity, etc., to keep themselves warm. Okay, so that is the problem of Jammu and Kashmir electricity issue, and now they are becoming, or that has become an important issue in the election of this particular year. Okay, now we can move further to the next one, that is Madrasas unsuitable for the proper education, child right body says to the Supreme Court. Okay, we know that we have a National Commission for Child Rights, etc., and that particular commission has said that the whatever curriculum is being taught in madrasas, that is not up to mark. When we talk about the national education policy, so this is not in line with the national education policy. Whatever has been taught over there, no doubt there are certain NCERTs which are being used over there, but using just the NCERT is not the benchmark that you are providing a better education, because there are various texts which are being summons are being delivered in the madrasas. Now that is the concern of this particular child rights body is that is basically your NCPCR. Okay, So when we are talking about the NCPCR has said that there are certain you can say instructions which are being given in the madrasas, and that these instructions are actually you can say kind of having some kind of objectionable content as well. Okay, so here you can say India's child rights body told the Supreme Court that the education imparted in madrasas is not comprehensive and is therefore against the provisions of the Right to Education Act. Okay, they teach about the supremacy of the Islam. Okay, so that is there which has been going on over there. They are saying that they teach about the supremacy of Islam. Fine, when we are talking about the madrasas, that can be there, but there the thing is there are certain misinterpretations which are also being going on over there. So that is a cause of concern. National Commission for the Protection of Child Rights claims that the Taliban was influenced by the religious and the political ideologies of Darul Uloom Deoband Madrasa in Uttar Pradesh. Now that is the cause of concern. If something like that is happening over there, and some terrorist outfit, or you can say a particular you can say insurgent outfit is getting their ideologies being derived from the you can say ideologies of a madrasa which is established in UP, that is a cause of concern. Anyway, the thing is they have actually, this is the foundings of the you can say NCPCR. Okay, and moving further, here you will be seeing that Allahabad High Court order which has been which had declared the Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education Act 2004 as unconstitutional on the ground that it violated the principle of the secularism. Okay, and fundamental rights under Article 14 of the Constitution. There was this act which was there with respect to the madrasa education. Okay, so that act was being held unconstitutional, but later on Supreme Court has put a stay on that particular you can say judgment, and they wanted to hear that particular thing first. So that was there. Now they do not only render unsatisfactory and insufficient model for education, but also have an arbitrary mode of working which is wholly and in absence of the you can say a curriculum and evaluation procedures as laid down under the section 29 of the Right to Education Act. So basically they are saying that these are not following, these madrasas are not having a particular functioning, or you can say particular framework under which they are working. Okay, so they are going for the unsatisfactory and insufficient model. Other than that also the you can say mode of work of these madrasas is arbitrary. Okay, so that is there. In overall these are things, these are the things which is happening over there. These are in overall violation of the constitutional mandate that has been set by the NCPCR. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the Right to Education Act, you know that under this particular act, the madrasas were exempted. Okay. Madrasas were exempted from this RTE Act, but the thing is, no doubt they are exempted from this particular act, but still those children which are studying in the madrasas, they do have right to education. Okay, now we cannot play with their right to education, because since we have excluded madrasas, okay, that does not mean that we can play with their right to education. Okay, they have a right to a good education. Okay, so since this particular body is concerned about the unsatisfactory education which is being provided in the madrasas, that is why they have put a concern out here. Here you can see, though the Right to Education Act exempt madrasas from its purview, the children staying in them have never been exempted from the ambit of Article 21A of the Constitution in India in any judicial decision or the constitutional interpretations. Okay, so basically those children which are studying in the madrasas, they do have right to good education over here. The denial to extend any right to education to children by these institutions with minority status not just deprives the children from the most important fundamental right to education, but snowballs into depriving them from the fundamental right to equality before law. Okay, so basically they are saying that ultimately if we are not able to provide good education to these kids, what is the use of these fundamental rights which we are basically advocating, that is Article 21A when we talk about, that is Right to Education Act. But if madrasas are excluded and then these kids are not getting the proper education, that is what is the point of such you can say fundamental rights. Okay. Now moving further, all those children who are not in the formal schooling system and deprived of their fundamental rights to elementary education, including the you can say entitlements such as the midday meal, uniform, you can say whatever uniform is being given by the schools, and then trained teachers, etc. All these things are given in the RTE. Okay, and if these madrasas are not working under such frameworks, then what is the use of that? Then all children studying in the madrasas are being deprived of not only formal education in the schools, but also the benefits which are being given under the RTE Act 2009. Okay, So this is about basically you can say this certain concerns which has been raised by NCPCR with respect to the madrasa education. Government should take cognizance of this particular issue, and at max what we can, at least what we can do is that we can regulate these madrasas, we can regulate the curriculum that should be on the lines, more on the lines of the scientific education. Okay, there should be something, a rational temper that should be, you can say, cultivated inside the minds of the kids. Okay, that is part of your fundamental duties as well. Okay, so that is something which is being discussed in this article. Now we can move further to the next, that is mission Mausam. Okay, 2000 crore Philip for the weather forecasting. So basically they have actually come up with the mission Mausam that is related to weather forecasting. There is nothing much to discuss from this article. There are two things. One is mission Mausam, other is mission monsoon. Okay, this is the recent one. This was started in 2012 with respect to the forecast of the monsoon. Okay, and right now it is there, that is mission Mausam with respect to the forecast of the extreme events, rainfall, etc., so that they can work, you can help in the sectors like agriculture. Other than that also, you know, weather forecasting, disaster management, etc., etc., that is there. Now Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved a mission to upgrade the capabilities of India's weather department in forecasting, modeling and dissemination of the information. Mission Mausam will have a budget of 2000 crore for the first 2 years of the implementation. Okay, moving further, it aims to invest heavily in improving the weather surveillance and the modeling forecasting to directly benefit key sectors such as agriculture, aviation, defense, to disaster management, tourism and health. How it will help you with the tourism, because if you are going somewhere, let's say Himachal you are going, and if you have an idea that there will be rainfall, there will be snowfall or not, accordingly you can plan. That is one thing. Second thing is how it will help your health. Okay, so when we are talking about these extreme events, they do have effect on our health, so that is one thing. Other than that, disaster management, that is but obvious when we are talking about these extreme events like floods, when we talk about the extreme rainfall, when we talk about the droughts, all these things can be, you can say, predicted from that. Agriculture is obvious, aviation sector, that is obvious. Okay, now moving further, mission Mausam is to cover all the aspects of the weather and forecasting services offered in the country. A similar boost to the monsoon prediction was in 2012 as well, which has been given through the mission monsoon. Okay, which we have already seen. Now that is related to the improvement of the country's long range forecast. Okay, that is there. Now here you can say India's meteorological department, that is IMD, we have IMD which is there for the forecast, etc., and we have seen that in the events of the extreme heat waves, etc., so they give a warning up before 24 hours at least, and then here you can see 97.99 times, or you can say nearly 98% of the times these forecasts are right and accurate. Okay, when we talk about the heavy rainfall, the 80% is the accuracy. Okay, that was not the case 20 to 30 years back. Okay, but right now our forecast system, early warning systems are doing very well. Okay, Ministry of Earth Science, the IMD, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology Pune, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting in Noida. These are the three institutions which are involved in the mission Mausam. Okay, objective is to provide accurate and the timely weather forecast and alerts the various geographical and the temporal scales, provide alerts and the warnings ahead of the extreme weather events, introduce weather interventions that will help manage fog, hail, rainfall, in addition to the capacity building and the training of the personnel. This is the objective. This is very generic and general objective which you can go through it, and it is very simple, nothing much to you can say explain over here. Now moving further, 40% of the Amazons, okay, 40% of the Amazon rainforest is the most vital to the climate, and it is unprotected. When we talk about the Amazon, you can go through this article because nothing much has been given over there. I will try to give you the brief of this particular article. There was this study which is saying that when we talk about this Amazon, they are basically the carbon sink. Carbon sink is basically something which is absorbing the atmospheric carbon, okay, so that we can say that the effect of climate change, etc., can be reduced. Okay, now atmospheric carbon dioxide is not very good for our health. Now these you can say forests are basically sink of that, they actually absorb them and keep it together. Okay, if we lose such things, Amazons, you know that they are called as lungs of the world. Okay, so if we are calling them lungs of the world, so that is important for us. When we are talking about the issues of climate change, it becomes even more you can say important. Now when we talk about this particular area of Amazon, 60% is under the protection, or you can say there are reserves which has been created, or some kind of protection has been awarded by the government. Okay, but 40% of them is basically, you can say that, unprotected. Sorry, okay, when we are talking about these 40%, that is unprotected. Okay, now when we are seeing that 40% of this is unprotected, so that means that a huge chunk of forest is unprotected, and that is there to be exploited by the humanity. Okay, so that can cause a threat to the climate change. Okay, now here you can see, when we are talking about there are concerns. One more concern is that there are studies which are saying that these Amazon forest are now from the absorber to they are actually converting into someone who is releasing the carbon dioxide. Okay, now let's see, there is some glaciers which are holding these gases reserves inside the inside the snow caps, but when the snow is getting, you can say, melted, and because of which these gases are coming into atmosphere, so whatever glaciers which were actually serving as the you can say sinks or the storage for these gases, now they are becoming the releaser of these gases. Okay, similarly, if you are going for such things and if you are not protecting these Amazon forest, there might be chances that they will start to release the carbon dioxide. Okay, so now that is one concern which is there. There is but still right now overall, if we see, if we the net you can say, if we see, so you will find out that they are still the absorber. Okay, so if we try to protect them right now, then we can have a case against the climate change. Okay, now looking at the locations here, you can see this is when we talking about the Amazon forest, these are located in the South American continent. Okay, maximum or the most of them are basically here. You can say this particular part over here. Okay, this is basically under Brazil. This part is under Brazil. So most of the Amazon forest are basically in Brazil. Other than that, some parts are there in Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia. Okay, some part of French Guiana, Suriname, and Guyana, etc. So these are there in these countries as well, but maximum of them they are there in the Brazil. Okay, so that is why Amazon forest are in news. They will not ask you about the study. They will not tell you that how much carbon they are releasing, how much carbon they are not. What they will ask is that why they are called as the lungs of the globe. Second things, why they are called as the carbon sink, why they are actually important for us from the climate change point of view, where they are located, what is the expanse of you can say Amazon forest. All these things that can be important for you. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to the top member of Dhaka interim government, says Adani Power deals under the scrutiny. Now here you will be seeing the interim government of the Bangladesh by Mohammad Yunus is set to scrutinize Indian businesses including Adani Group, which export power from its Jharkhand unit under 2017 agreement. Now they will be saying that they are trying to, you can say, get into the terms and conditions of the agreements. They will try to see that whether they are, whatever amount they are paying is up to mark or not. Okay, now let's see the deal over here. In November 2017, Adani Power Jharkhand Limited signed a 25 years power purchase agreement with Bangladesh Power Development Board to supply 1496 megawatt of the electricity. Okay, now if we talk about this supply, the Goda plant provides 7 to 10% Bangladesh base load and export about 7508 million units of the power in 23-24. That is some data which you don't have to remember, but this is something which is which you can keep in mind, that there is an agreement of power sale between India and you can say Bangladesh through a private player, that is Adani. Now outstanding payments, if we are talking about right now, Adanis are having this concern because there is some payment which has not been paid by the, you can say, Bangladesh government. So that is there. Adani Power reports overdue payments of around more than 500 million, with Bangladesh owing a total of 800 millions. Okay, electricity pricing, Adani Powers is rate 14.02 Bangladesh you can say taka per unit, compared to the an average that is 8.77 takas per unit for the imported electricity. Okay, so Adanis are charging a little bit high over there. whatever reason are there, that they are trying to actually scrutinize. Okay. Now government's action here, regulatory changes which has been made, that Bangladesh amended the regulation to allow Adani's plant to connect to the Indian grid if there is a payment delays, enabling domestic power sales. So basically what they are saying is now is that if you are having this issue with respect to the payment, okay, if we are not able to pay you, then you can say sell the electricity in your own grid in India's side. Okay. So that is some changes which has been made by Bangladesh. But anyways, you don't have to remember all these things. All these things are of no use for us. This is just to give you the picture of the news. What is important is this. Now why this is happening? You know that there was this domestic crisis which is going on, and then Sheikh Hasina has actually she has seeking asylum in India, and we are speculating that there can be issues in the India-Bangladesh ties. Okay, but Mohammed Yunus, if we look at here, he is saying again and again that want good ties with India should be on the basis of fairness and equality. Okay, so he is saying that we want good ties, but we will be scrutinizing everything again. Okay, so that is why these relations are having some issues. Okay, here relations with India, if we see, the interim government aims for a stable relation with India, but has concern over the ousting Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's activities. That is there. If we talk about the internal issues, the interim government is tackling corruption and the financial mismanagement from the previous administrations. Okay, so they are from the former Prime Minister's administration. There are issues related to corruption, etc. So they are trying to scrutinize all these things, and because of which they are also trying to scrutinize this particular deal, power deal, which was between Bangladesh and Adani's. Okay, so that is why this particular thing was in news. We have completed today's discussion. Now for your own read, there is this article, controversy over Mumbai's salt pans. Why do these land matters? You can go through this particular article. You will try to understand that why this salt when we are talking about the salt pans which are there in Mumbai, which are important for us. So please keep a tap on that. Okay. Now last part, that is basically the practice question. The majority of the Amazon rainforest is found in which of the country? Ecuador, Venezuela, Brazil and Bolivia. We have discussed this, so you can be able to answer that in the comment box. So attempt this question, answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.